time to get a bit gory.
One word that I can put it into is wrong.
What is it? What's in there?
Terrifying.
Antidote. What I know.
It is sick, disgusting.
Tell us what these creatures are.
Violent.
This is our little peek into the dark corners of the human soul.
Very Torchwood.
Right at the start of the series, when we planned it, I was always sitting there going, the hills have eyes. We must do The Hills Have Eyes.
I really wanted to write something that was very scary and put them in real danger, real personal danger.
I hate the countryside. It's dirty, it's unhygienic. And what is that smell?
That would be grass.
It's disgusting.
From the very beginning, you see the team out of their environment, out of their context. They're in the beautiful surroundings of the Brecon Beacons.
Did you say camp?
And suddenly, they're in this situation where they don't know whether it's alien or whether it's something else. They're out of their environment, out of Cardiff, and everyone feels a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more open, and a lot more scared.
Reminds me of holidays I'd have as a kid, where, you know, your dad takes a wrong turn, and I just remember that sense of, oh, we're far away from home now and I don't like this. That's a universal feeling that everybody has.
God knows, if I had to spend too long up here, I'd want to top myself.
I think what makes this episode even more terrifying is the fact that there are no extraterrestrial alien force at work.
You see, meat has to be tenderized first.
The kind of enjoyment that these people have of it, that's what makes it so sick. You know, Owen Teale, who, you know, his character, when he says, you know, Gwen says to him at the end, why do you do this? And he leans over and he says,
because it made me happy.
come on. Just creepy. Creepy.
The scene where Gwen is questioning Evan at the end is really me grappling with why would people do that?
What sort of people are you that you wake up in the morning and think this is what I'm going to do?
Suddenly to be confronted by something that is human but that horrifying is just appalling and horribly ugly, and that's what Gwen reacts to.
Who are these people?
This is our village.
Villagers are dead! They've all been doing it.
This is our harvest.
Actually, the whole thing is designed to push Gwen towards Owen, that even though she can't stand him half the time, but she's leading this extraordinary life and cannot go home and say what's going on. And actually, in those circumstances, that's when you start to have the affair at work.
What are you doing? You need to rest.
Compiling what we've got, seeing if it helps. They can't tell anyone about this organisation. They can't tell anybody about what they do every
They're
day.
in an environment that they're not used to.
She's not handling it quite as well as she thought.
They're outside their comfort
They
zone.
share everything together.
Bet you thought you'd never be glad to see me.
They rely on each other much more in this particular episode.
They go, you know, from hell and back.
Want to quip about feeling a small prick?
No, but thanks for that.
And I think that just draws them together.
They get to that point where they're like two kettles that are ready to just steam off, and they're in that heated moment, and boom, it happens.
You and me.
We're not cozy at all. We'd be amazing. That scares the shit out of you.
Damn, we've got every element of like a you know, film and stuff in this. We've got sex, blood, and violence. Rock on.
As you walk in, the first said, well, make sure you just look at this side of the room. And, you know, typical Welsh farmhouse, you know, lovely. And then he said, no, turn round. And it was just like something out of Chainsaw Massacre.
There's some blood along the walls.
It's fingernails.
Along the floor.
Body parts everywhere.
Along the curtains.
A pile of human feces.
On the sideboards.
Bodies hanging up. A huge big, like, It looked like a big body barbecue.
And even the maggots were running off of it. They wouldn't stay on it. That was how gross it was.
This episode needed more blood and gore than any episode, and any episode to come as well.
You know, the whole episode is just based around a lot of people getting murdered in the backwoods of Wales, so all the victims are going to be our handiwork. This is made from all kinds of things. I mean, literally, the inner part is a plastic skeleton. It's just bought from a medical supply house and is used as a teaching aid. So we've just taken that and added to it, and all the sinew and muscle is, it's very simple. It's just this material called plumber's hemp, which is just kind of fibres which we dip in pre-coloured latex and lay over and model into shapes, and when it dries you get the kind of muscles and tendons, and it's just kind of fabricated from the ground up.
I saw the rushes of countryside, and I saw when the rushes came through the set. I did have a conversation with Russell and Julie and Richard about how many body parts there were on there, frankly, because what had happened was the design department had done something so fantastic, so brilliant, and so lifelike that actually it was a little too much.
You also have to remember that these aren't supernatural mutants. They are ordinary people who are still nevertheless living in this kitchen somehow.
It's about saying what actually serves the story. If you're doing a story about cannibals, you're going to have to see bits of eaten bodies, which is all rather terrifying, but the most frightening thing in the episode is the reactions on people's faces. And so you see their eyes, you see their fear, and you think, oh my God, what is it they're looking at? And if you give them everything they're looking at, then actually the whole mystery goes away and the whole horror goes away. So a lot of how much we show blood and gore and horrific things is actually how much we pull back on it rather than how much we show.
What did this, Jack? Because whatever it is, it can't be human. How far...
So this story absolutely demands it. This is a blood and gore story, but we never luxuriate in it.
Just having a little glimpse and an idea of what's going on just sends you off into this really horrible place that I absolutely hope I will never, ever have to experience in real life. Really.
So episode 6, the end climax was always about Captain Jack, riding in on a tractor, shooting them all in spectacular kind of John Woo style.
What if the only way to kind of fight these people was to almost get primal yourself? And I thought it was an opportunity to kind of tap into some of the depth that Jack may have.
There was two different ways that we discussed of doing it. Jack would come in and be stealth-like, that he's so focused on what he's doing that there's no emotion, or he comes in, and this is what we decided on, that I'd come in and I'd be just raw and disgusted and guttural, okay? And just blowing the crap out of everybody. What turned out was Julie and Russell wanted it stealth.
We wanted a big action climax to something that had been so psychologically dark and a bit gory. And then, as with everything that you shoot, you've got choices about how far you go. And with John, we had great options because we could either go quite big with the performance in terms of emotion and anger.
What's the matter with you people?
But we also had an option to go quieter.
The route we took was a combination of losing some dialogue and slow-mo. It kind of gives a different spin in the scene. I suppose it gives it, because it slows it down, it gives it an almost, I suppose, operatic quality, which is not what we shot, so I was worried that it wasn't going to work. But I think it's worked out all right,
Oh, really?
Episode 7 is a wonderful character portrait of Toshiko.
I think it's a very sad episode as well, actually.
It was a great opportunity for Tosh to kind of rev up her engine and kind of become who she's capable of being.